Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. And thank you so much for joining us here at Remnant House, the home of the strong and very courageous, as we get together each week for the Evangelists Corner. And this is a weekly time that we set aside. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you to those of you who are part of the brigade out here, shining your light, telling people of the gospel, making sure they hear the good news, because, there's a lot of people that don't care if anybody gets saved. You know that? There's a lot of people that don't care. Can you believe that we live in a world where people who are full of the knowledge, full of understanding, lots of information everywhere, and they've gotten so cold they don't care if anybody else gets the message. And a lot of them have the message. A lot of people have the message of salvation and don't even want to share it, folks. So this is what we've got to kind of shake off, right? We all realize it when, oh man, I don't want to get to the point where I'm so comfortable, so content in my own walk that I forgot to share the good news with my brother and my sister. So today we're going to continue this conversation we keep having with our brother David Colon. Thank you so much for joining us today, my brother, for another conversation on evangelism. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure when you join us, my brother.
Yes. And all my brothers and sisters out here, much ahava to you.
Much ahava to you all. Amen and amen. David, what do you think about what's going on digitally out there? We've been talking about this behind the scenes, but man, we got to talk about this out. We may as well turn this into Digital Evangelist Corner, because the world has changed, hasn't it, David?
Yes. And that's exactly what it's coming to. We're going to have to shift and pivot. Otherwise, we're going to be left kind of on the irrelevant side as far as, staying up with, the technology of the day. And really, this is the great part, is we can actually use it to our advantage.
Now, obviously, there's a reason why you say that.
Yes.
There's a reason why you're saying we'd fall behind. Do you mind if I ask what that is?
You fall behind. You listen. His people perish for what?
Lack of knowledge.
For lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means taking knowledge that you've been given, and if you don't apply it to your life,
taking it for granted, maybe
you're taking it for granted.
Ooh.
You really don't have anything coming. So it's those who adapt and pivot to still bring forth the authenticity of the message.
And let me just make this very clear, because a lot of times people get upset at those who can adapt. They're like, well, I don't like this plan. Neither do we.
We don't either. We'd rather not be
I
here.
don't like this system. We didn't like it either.
Mm-mm.
We didn't like the other one either. Or the one before that. Or the one before that. No. I want to be clear, because a lot of times we get blamed for adapting. I'm not talking about just us personally. Sure. I'm talking about the people in earth who through the centuries adapt to the next thing. It's not because we endorse it.
That's right.
It's not because we think it's all that.
Come on.
It's because that's what's here.
We got to deal with what we have.
We got to work with it, man.
We got to work with it. We can't be.
It affects how you feed your children. It affects how you take care of your family. It affects what you do with your time. It affects what your priorities are. It affects a lot of things. So as long as it has that kind of potential impact, we have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it stops affecting those things, I said, when it stops affecting all those things, well, then that's a different story, right?
That's a different story.
And some of you are like, well, that's where I want to get to, self-sufficient, where I'm not affected. Well, let me know when you get there. Right?
Yes.
In the meantime, we don't have a choice but to recognize, do we, David, that we are now in this time period. Yes. We can't wish ourselves back to 1980, although the pizza was better. You gotta say, come on.
Let's just keep it real.
Somebody out there better shout me out about some pizza.
No,
some
don't shout them down.
Pizza. Somebody tell me you know what I'm talking about, David.
Or 1970s White Castle when it was.
Oh my gosh! Don't even.
When it was still the real deal.
Maybe we think so. I don't know.
No, it was the real deal, bro. It was. It's not
Oh
this.
no. Oh
Fetus.
no.
No.
Don't you dare tell me what's in them. I don't want to talk about this.
Oh, you
Not
do
today.
not want to know.
I don't want to do the math. I've had too many people take me through the math. And I'm like, okay, I'm all mathed out now on that one, man. All right.
True. Very true.
I don't want to do the math anymore.
You
And joining us
know,
for our comic relief, because we got to have a little bit of comic relief, is our brother Jeff from this area. And Jeff, how are things down at the beach? We just want to know, how are things down at the beach?
Awesome. Dave, I'll be there in an hour. Actually, Dave, come on down here. I'll see you in an hour.
I'll see you in an hour, bud.
Yeah.
See you in an hour.
Yeah.
We'll take the boat out and we'll just go have a good time.
France or something, right?
Yeah. I got the virgin margaritas ready to go. Yeah.
So the east side of New Kingdom has a beach now, huh?
Hey, the moratorium got lifted. I took full advantage. I'm going to be in space next week. So
that's right. You can put a back screen on and you can be wherever you want to be. It's a digital age. You can be wherever you want now, man. Come on. That's what we're just talking about. We're talking about evangelism.
Yes.
In a digital age where a lot of things are fake, right? A lot of things are imitation. What do you guys think about this? Like, how do you, as believers now, watch this now, how do you bring the gospel forward in an era where everybody's going, is that real? Is that real?
Yeah, well, first of all, they fed right into the enemy's hands when they did that. When they took that kind of attitude, they really fell right into his hands. Because really the thing coming down the stretch here, guys, discernment is going to be at a premium. At an absolute premium.
Jeff, what's your thoughts?
Well, what's the third test? The third test is the cares of this world. So
we interrupted tea time for Jeff.
Dave, you're actually there. Why are you wasting your back? You should be filming from the beach. I have to fake it. I have to fake it.
You know.
I have to do all this crazy AI digital nonsense. You're there.
Well, listen.
Like the beach, bro.
Yeah, I'm so envious. This is an hour north of you.
Dave's a beach dweller.
This is Pensacola. This is actual Pensacola background.
You're a beach dweller.
Well, I started my life here, so there's that.
David loves that tropical climate.
Always have.
A lot of
people
do.
He doesn't have to
like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have to fake it. I have to overcompensate with digital.
I like the water, but I don't like the high humidity. That's why I liked California, actually. Because I like, like when I lived in San Diego for a few years, that was nice, but crazy people, but nice place.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that was the 80s. I don't know. That was a crazy time.
Yeah, Dave's actually there. I'm compensating. This is my red Ferrari. My background.
It's a red Ferrari. So that's my point, though, is that now I was talking to somebody about this, and we were talking about what do you know from your real friends, like or maybe it was David I was talking about, but anyway, we're talking about how many real friends versus fake friends, or not fake friends, but like you don't know if they're real.
Right.
You don't know out of 1,500 friends or whatever you have on some Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. How many of those are real?
Right.
Who knows? How many?
Who knows? It's all been weaponized now. The enemy's he's out, and he's in full force, and evil triumphs when good men do nothing, and so therefore we're not going to play that game. We're not playing that do nothing game. Huh? Yes, we're not playing the do nothing game.
Well, let me ask this question. In an age where you can evangelize more than ever before because knowledge is increased throughout the earth, does it sort of serve as a third stage cares of this world test, in the sense that the information's there more than ever? You could literally prove everything in the Torah, but there's so much out there it almost serves as a distraction, like a missile flare.
I like this point. This is a good point. Does it serve? Good question. Good one, Jeffrey. Does it serve as a cares of this world distraction mechanism?
Well, if you really, for me, it really depends on what kind of material you're putting out there. Now, if you're putting out, the gospel, the Torah gospel, okay, the obedience, the commandments, and all that, then I don't think it is. But if anything else that you're putting out there, probably is.
Well, that's my point, though, guys. I mean, that's my point. Is that, think about it. First, we had we were trucking along. How many know that the Remnant were trucking along really hardcore, pulling a lot of people towards Shabbat, commandments, the name, everything.
Yeah. Then
they killed that poor kid.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get into it too much, but you guys know what I'm talking about. They killed that poor kid, which suddenly sort of woke up churchianity, right? The push on churchianity, which almost seemed pretty strategic, right? So if you look at it, you're like, "Ooh, I'm feeling a little manipulated here, a little bit, just a wee bit."
Yes.
Right. And so now we're looking at the landscape, and we're seeing some other things that are being sort of weaponized, right? And that's what's bringing up this topic of the digital age, because everything's digital, isn't it, David?
That's why discernment is going to be at a premium.
Yeah.
I mean, can I just say something?
Yeah, hop in.
Absolutely.
Supposing you were back in the original apostles, and you said, "Boy, I wish we had all this tools and digital stuff." But think about it. You knew where Apostle Peter was. You knew where the miracles were undeniable. There was only one place. There were no distractions. There was only one place where people were being brought back from the dead. You might have been in fear of it because of the government, but it was obvious where it was. Now, there's so much stuff to occupy yourself. It could be there and you never know.
It's no longer big news.
Ah.
Here's another thing. How about this? Good news is not big news. I promise you, go out and tell somebody, "Hey, I just got a $50,000 this or that." You'll get a couple of hand claps.
Yeah.
Tell somebody you had a disaster that cost you $50,000. You have 200 people like it.
Strange, isn't it? Yes. If that isn't upside down, I don't know what is. It's completely upside down.
We have to learn how to celebrate, and all we do is mourn.
Yes. Come on.
Well, David, what do you think? That could be an evangelistic tool. Instead of asking people to come to the water, tell them about all the problems getting to the water. Your car broke down, your legs bothering you, your joints are out of
I don't think that's going to be very effective, Jeff. Just saying.
I'll be there.
I don't want to sound like an old country song, okay? I don't want to sound like an old country song.
No, but I think you make a good point that is it a big distraction of the cares of this world? Speaking of distraction, of course, just yesterday while we were in Shabbat, the United States made the decision to
on Shabbat, shocking,
attack Iran. Our hearts always go out to anybody in any conflict.
Yes,
doesn't matter who the players are, because conflict is never, I don't believe, the right way to solve anything. But
doesn't
at the same time, we also understand that that these things happen. So we stand together and united as a country. And we stand for future, for peace, and that there will be no more of these things. That's the hope we're looking forward to, right, guys? So that's a big deal, and we'll be talking more about that tomorrow night on our weekly news update. But the reason why I bring it up is then we get this tweet from the president about one of the internet companies. And I wasn't sure which one was the wag and which one was the dog.
Right.
You guys figuring out what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether or not it was, that Trump was wagging the dog
or pulling its tail. Right.
Or what?
Yeah.
But check this out, and I'm going to put it on the screen for everybody to see. The United States of America would never allow a radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins wars. Watch this now. Because it's first of all telling you something. This thing was involved in wars, and it may have gotten over its skis because it got a lot of publicity for being involved in the Maduro thing, right? So who knows? Maybe that went to the head. Who knows? I don't know. Something clearly went kitty wampus here in Mudville. I think we can all agree there, right?
Right.
And he says to them, I love the way this guy does not hold back. So he's a lot of fun. Watch this, guys. I didn't write this, so don't anybody get mad at me for it, okay? The left-wing nut jobs at Anthropic have made a disastrous mistake trying to strong-arm the Department of War. So clearly they felt at least strong-arm. Whether they did or not, I don't know, but they felt this way.
Yeah.
And forced them to obey their terms of service instead of our Constitution. Whoa, you know what? I got the same problem with these guys. I said I got the same problem with these guys. So I actually agree with him here because, man, the Constitution does say certain things that these guys ignore. Now, their selfishness is putting American lives at risk. I don't know about that. And our troops in danger, our national security in jeopardy. That I do believe. Absolutely do. Because they don't even know what they let in the place. Okay, therefore, I'm directing every federal agency in the United States government to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology. So much for them riding high, right? They're coming down.
Crash and burn.
Now they're looking at a mega sus, right, guys?
They were mega sketch to begin with, but yes.
They were mega sus to begin with, right, guys? So
who's Anthropic?
What do you think about this? Which is the wag and which is the dog? Is the war the wag, or is this the wag and the war is the dog? Which is help me out.
It could go either way. It could go either way.
Depends on your perspective, right?
Depends on your perspective, yes.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
I mean, you know, in the Torah it says when there was a good king of Israel, Israel prospered. When there was a bad king, things went really bad. You know, it's not so much, to me, it's not so much about any particular action. It's who's at the top of the bat and the covering. You could take the same action and it could work out, you know, good, and you could take the same action and it could work out bad.
Depending on the dynamics, yes.
Yeah, I mean, is he attacking Anthropic because he's favoring his billionaire buddies, Peter Thiel, for their system, for their AI? You know, but at the end of the day, it's so crazy. You just have to that's why there has to be a standard ultimately, you know.
That's correct. There definitely needs to be kitty guards and you know, guardrails, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. You never know. You know, not to use this example, but to go back, you guys remember in the 80s, you know, Reagan, whatever you thought about him, he took actions. He did military stuff. He did,
sure,
you know, stuff. But, you know, overall, communism, you know, a lot of Russia, a lot of parts of the world got free, and a lot of people leveled up economically. They moved up a class, you know, pretty much, you know, universally, regardless of other problems and what you thought about Reagan and whether people were jerks or not. You know, there was freedom, there was opportunity. But then you could do a similar type of action and it could result in other things, you know. So
a straight blowing up in your face, yes.
Yeah, you know, the last 20 years in the Middle East, okay, they did a bunch of stuff, but they always replaced them with someone worse, you know. And so are they setting up?
Now we got to see what happens now, right? Because boy, did you just kick the hornet's nest, right?
That's always the danger, yes.
Oh, okay, they got rid of these guys. Okay, Grill, wow, that's great. Well, then what do you know, we'll see. What are you replacing with?
Is this the future of war? Would they just kill the leader?
Good question.
Right? You know, so there's that too. But here's the thing that gets my thoughts going. And it has to do with the whole concept of attacking a company publicly from the pulpit of the United States of America's presidency, right? You're attacking a private concern, a supplier to the federal government, calling them unpatriotic, and calling them essentially a national security threat, which is essentially what they said.
Mm-hmm.
He said straight out, you put troops in danger, that's a national security threat, if I've ever heard one, and what have you. So there's one of two things happening here. Either there's one thing is admitted by this company is that they have the heaviest surveillance or infrastructure above their LLM API than any other. I forget what you want to call that, but it's definitely a architecture that is superseding the LLM API throughput requirement. And so, they've got a lot there that the government wanted. So that's the real question that everybody should be asking is what was it that they were being asked for that they didn't want to give up, but that they had? Like, what do you have, right? That's sitting somewhere. Where did you get it? How did you get it? Do you have a warrant for any of that? We would need a warrant, but you don't? You want to think that one through? And I think there's a lot to that argument that now is going to unravel probably in the public. What do you guys think?
Well, I'll tell you, the dress is straight over the head and for everybody to see.
Boy, howdy.
It does not take a rocket scientist to see that the Whore of Babylon has been exposed.
Yeah, they can't quite figure out which way they want to go. Do they want to admit that they do this?
Yes.
In which case, let's take the government contract. Right? Or, which a couple of them stood right up to do. So that tells you what they are. Okay? They jumped right into, we'll do it. We'll do it. Right? Okay.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Right.
Well,
we're your Huckleberry.
Yeah, we don't know. We will have to wait and see because this has been going on. What you just outlined, Apostle Peter, it's been going on at least since the mid-90s, transferring all of our military technology to China under the guise of companies, giving our Los Angeles port to China as sovereign territory, spying on every single American under the guise of, well, it's a corporation. This has been, Amazon servers get used for the Pentagon, and Amazon's all over the world, including enemy countries. So it's not even hidden. The question is, what you're saying is the current administration is seemingly trying to do something about it, finally saying, hey, Constitution says you can't spy on people, you can't invade their rights. The Constitution takes precedence, not world corporations. So is that a ruse to replace with something that Trump's buddy that's the same thing, or is it an actual attempt to push back, or are we witnessing another form of government the effect or the symptoms of another type of government being established, and then it just works out how it works out.
That's
if I were with those guys, I'd be real concerned that they'd get in major trouble right now. Because they just basically they had to have a reason to say no, right? So what's the reason why they're saying no? Because they have a bunch of information on their users that they intend to data mine. They use basically without the user's consent for information gathering for all kinds of reasons that, number one, draws attention to the fact that they have this information, number one. So there's that. There's the fact that they have it. Number two, well, if the government needs a warrant to get it from you dudes, in other words, if the government's got to go all strong arm to get this from you, where the heck did you get the cojones to go into people's living rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, offices, wherever, to gather it to begin with?
They didn't. They just did it. They listen, the enemy's an outlaw. The enemy.
No, that's my point. That's my point. Is that you're getting mad. The one it's like one criminal getting mad at the other in public. You hid information that you got from people. Yeah, but don't talk about it. Why not? Because I'm not supposed to have this information. What business do they have knowing every search you did or everything you're looking at or what have you? Well, they obviously have intent on that.
No, it's called a prison. It's called a warden and
Well,
prison.
maybe that's their intent. You don't know that. We don't know yet. We can guess, but what we know for a fact is that there's a reason why the government was angry, right? So what that's telling us is something is cooking. And it has to do with knowing where everything and everyone is.
But the mere fact that they gathered that information, whether their intention was good or bad, I have now made you a prisoner. I have now said I violated your rights. I've now said I own you. That's what I said when I did that. So is
that what it's saying? I don't know. It's kind of implying that, isn't it? It's an implication that and what is it? What is necessary for evil to prosper? Good men to do nothing. And so if we're unaware that we're being, basically made into property, at somebody is not even asking permission. Like, for example, that particular company just lost a lawsuit that I just heard about. I don't know all the details, but my understanding is, and again, don't quote me on this, was they had harvested some book information from authors and didn't properly, adequately credit them. So that already
sounds familiar, don't it?
It tells you the culture, right? It tells you a little bit about the thinking process of some executive somewhere made that decision. Whether it was one executive or a group of them makes no difference. That's in your culture. And it had enough power to affect this decision. That was a $1 billion decision. So that's a heavy culture. That's not a light culture when it's $1 billion culture. Okay. So
that's heavy-handed.
That's heavy-handed. So that means you guys intentionally went around what were rules. Okay. And I watched this particular LLM go around rules all the time. All the time. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So this is a serious, not rule abiding thing.
Right. Yeah.
Just say
you have individual rights as a citizen. You're sovereign, independent. I can't violate them.
It's going to get.
I can't violate your property. I can't do nothing. Oh, you downloaded an app on your phone? Well, all right. Well, I'm going to get my info from there. Then I don't know.
The thing is that what makes this really bad is. And this is what I'm hoping is that people react, because if you normalize this, if you look the other way and go, oh, well, then you just made it. Yeah. David, have we not just made it okay?
Yes.
To data mine and harvest and know where everybody, and that's normal.
Evil triumphs when good men do nothing.
Wait a second. Hold on, Lucy. You got some explaining to do.
You have some big time explaining to do.
So you mean to tell me that they were going to pay you for a data? Well, hold on a minute. Yeah, we wouldn't sell it to them. Oh, you won't sell it? No, we would never. We were not going to sell it. But
that's just how they co-opt the middle management.
You have it.
Yeah.
But you have it. Here's my problem. Where did you get it?
Yeah.
Because I can deliver an LLM that's faster, that beats you 30 times out of 30, and doesn't have to record all that. So why do you have all these files that you have to protect? From who? Who are you protecting them from? These are all great questions, guys, that are going to come up legally in the courts, and are going to work their way through the legal mechanisms of not only the United States, but I think the Five Eyes countries and what have you, because technocracy is attempting to take over representative government.
Oh, yes.
Well, okay. So one of the things that came out in the files recently, the released files, one of them was that what's called the WEF, the World Economic Forum, was amongst the leaders, the world leaders, whatever. I'm just paraphrasing. Was to replace the UN, United Nations,
right?
And they actually called it a world corporate government through this alliance of political and business leaders called the World Economic Forum.
Right.
And so they said they were the data that you're talking about. They said they're going to use that data for that purpose.
Right.
And so recently, the head of the World Economic Forum just resigned. So
Yep.
my question to you is, do you believe what we're seeing is a pushback to that system that was in the process of happening?
Well, I think that's a great question. I definitely think that we're seeing some pushback because of the release of the Epstein files, which has caused a ripple effect. Maybe not so much in the United States. In the United States, it's caused embarrassment, but that's it. In Europe, it's caused a lot more. It's caused arrests, direct confrontations have occurred. So it's definitely had a different ripple effect in Europe. That being said, the other thing that I think that is happening in these world bodies is they're gasping for air. They're realizing that the plot has moved on without them. The 1990s called, and nobody's doing Left Behind anymore. And Tim LaHaye's gone. I mean, there's too much that has left the building with these. It's these predictive things. So I think that's really hit hard, especially churchianity. Churchianity's been looking for something to bring it back for some time, and it so keeps grabbing a hold of whatever it can get a hold of, and it tried to get a hold on this, the Charlie Kirk thing, which actually turned out to be a really good thing, I think, for a lot of people. And I think it's very good to see people recover their faith and begin to walk in a certain direction. But I think it didn't work the way that they thought it was going to work, and so you're dealing with several things that are desperate at the same time. You've got an economy that's gasping from an analog overdose in a digital world. You've got a workforce that's also adjusting to a different way to earn income. And then you've also got an economy, a world economy that is adjusting to new tools. So this is a sort of a perfect storm.
Yes,
on top of everything else that's going on, to really lose your footing, if you will, lose where you are, what you're doing, not only individually, but as a family, even as a company or a culture. I think a lot of people are feeling the sort of the earth move under my feet.
My feet, I feel the earth.
I feel the sky tumbling down.
Tumbling down. I'm gonna add that to the playlist.
Okay, remember that. So I don't know what's going on.
I have okay. Gosh, I forgot my question now. I had a question.
Got your point.
Yeah. That was definitely Grandpa Brigade material right there, buddy.
That's it, my friend.
Here we go. So, this is for both of you, based on what you just said. But do you believe that churchianity in particular is getting to a point where instead of waiting to be left behind or to be left or waiting for a big cataclysmic rapture event, do you believe that churchianity is starting to get to a point where they're more realizing that Yahuwah is waiting on them as opposed to them simply sit around
at the same time? That's a great question. I think there's several things happening at the same time. It's a great question. I think you got the convergence of those who are coming at the scriptures, recovering historical things from the deep distance in the past, along with the my lunch breaks of the world, the groups that have come from here backward and started recovering a lot of the historical record that was clearly tampered with, right? So we started to have this sort of convergence, and people started to really ask, and I mean intelligent people, not just anybody, just really good thinking people started going, hey, wait a minute.
Math ain't
mathing. What's with all these melted buildings? Where'd the Sahara Desert come from? This book talks about it being like the Garden of Eden. So where'd this thing get scorched like this? How come we're looking off stuff like it's not a big deal? Babylon was underground. We gotta send in the excavators to get that. You know how much work that would require? Like, why was Italy all under, why did they put together Stonehenge and I got video of them building it? Like, what's going on here? Right? What happened here? Right? And so as people started, mud floods and Cabbage Patch Kids and, all of this they started putting too many things together. And we don't have enough insane asylums. Listen to me, folks. They don't have enough insane asylums like they did in the 1800s to put everybody who's a little whoopee. So who's figuring them out, right?
Right. It's more
So
like
they
it.
did it differently. They decided they were going to create digital insane asylums where you get put in your own echo chamber. You get made to be looking like you're cuckoo because you can't possibly be right. There isn't enough people following you. So by dealing with this, they got in front of it, right? So they were able to contain all viral movement. And if you start moving virally, unauthorized viral movement on their platforms, no, you're not allowed.
Yeah,
that's unauthorized viral movement.
We will shut you down.
Unless it's a cat video.
You're allowed to talk to 25 people and only about cats.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, I've noticed I get more responses out of fishing trips than I do about the word.
Oh, no, they definitely don't want. Listen, they've been shutting that down since the 1600s, guys. Remember that. They first shut down conversation when they said this is the authorized King James Version. That was it.
Authorized. Nothing else matters.
That's right. And they shut everybody down. And if you argued, they killed you. Yes. That's how that worked. The whole 1600s was a trip.
Well,
it really was.
It went back even further than that in the 1400s with the Spanish Inquisition or the Christian Crusades, as you call them.
And that's my point, guys, is that as you go back in history, as you start piecing together historical records, you start looking at certain things, you go, wait a minute, there's things that don't make sense.
Right.
Well, okay. Along those lines, I'm in the 1600s, and they said, no, you have to only read this authorized, King James authorized Bible that we have.
That's why they left. They got on the boat, said, screw you, we're leaving.
They left. They took action. Okay, so that's my question to you. Did they sit around waiting for Yahuwah, or
nope?
Or was Yahuwah waiting on them? Did Yahuwah need them to take action to get on a boat to go follow the actual Torah to get away from the restricted Torah in order for Yahuwah to be able to move so that things could get better, so that the kingdom could be established amongst his people? That's my question.
Yeah, if you keep getting persecuted, you keep moving away, that expands territory.
It only makes you stronger if you let it. Exactly.
You move 50 miles away, they come and persecute you, take over what you have. Okay, you move another 50 miles away, they come and take that. You move another 50 miles away. You're pioneering just by survival. Okay, believe me, that's how it worked too. Because a lot of people were just trying to look. A lot of people right now, tell the truth out here, you guys. A lot of you right now, okay, sitting on the chat over here, are like, look, I just want to go find some place. Y'all just leave me alone.
I'm saying, better recognize.
There's a whole lot of people right here with me on the chat. Will be like, look, I just want to go sit down somewhere. Y'all just leave me alone.
Done.
Please. I am so tired of your cuckoo. I do not care about your mochaccino world.
They're coming, David. They're coming. They're leaving New York. They're coming your way. You better,
I know they're coming to Florida, bro.
They don't. They just finished voting in crazy. They heard
there's no property tax in Florida. Everybody, quick, go to Florida.
That's a ruse, by the way. That's not entirely. Yeah, no. There is some truth to it, but there is some loopholes that they're working into the language. What a shock,
man! I just can't understand it.
Yes.
And so anyway, the bottom line is my concern, my thoughts are we coming into a time when we're going to see government directly attacking, putting somebody on public blast like this, right? I mean, that's, 50 million people follow the guy, right? 50 million people just got mad at you all at once.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a bully pulpit. What do you think, Jeff?
I think covering matters. I think if you have, when I say good king or bad king, I'm not saying Trump or any individual's good or bad. I'm saying if Yahuwah can move through someone at a higher level, he can affect more things, So I think covering matters, So if he can use someone, whoever it is, at a certain level, he can he can affect real change.
Well, I definitely think companies like this are being put on notice because there was a sort of culture, a corporate culture that took the constitutional rights of especially United States Americans for granted. And I think that now that pushback is happening in other places like Europe, where they're saying, no, you can't do all that you're doing. You have to respect our rules. I think it's time for the United States to say the same thing, because don't you think it's important that we say to companies and organizations, hey, there's a limit to the information that you are lawfully allowed to retain. We understand if you need to get us, in the door, so there's some authentication process, right, to get my email validated or to ensure that it's me. But beyond that, should you be tracking everything I'm doing? What do you guys think?
No, it's not just. I don't. Let me just say this real quick, Dave. It's not a corporate culture. They wrote about it. They said we're going to replace governments with corporations. We're going to go around.
So you're saying this is actually part of the plan, is what you're saying. You're saying,
yes.
No, this is not accidental, Peter. No. Walk me through this. I'm not being funny. Seriously, walk me through this. You're saying that they literally wrote it out wherever they did, and that the plan was replace national governments, representative governments, with technocracy.
Yeah.
Yes.
The corporate bylaws replace the Constitution.
Have they lost their mind?
Well,
if they think a representative government can go bad, how bad can a technocracy go? The thing starts off bad. How bad will it get? It starts off with the boot on your neck. It starts off with, you must comply. You will be assimilated. That's its beginning.
Board.
Where does this thing end?
Board.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Full on transhumanism. That's where it ends up. If they have their way.
No.
If they have their way. They won't have their way, but sorry.
Let's say it's bad. Should the focus be on them, or should the focus be on, hey, let's support Torah communities. Let's get together in prayer groups. Let's walk over our communities.
At that point, Jeff, do you think that at that point we set ourselves up, we created a monster, we did nothing about it, and our answer was move away and go live in a tent? I understand the live in a tent if you got no choice. However, did it occur to you to maybe turn around and face that monster?
Come on. Slay that giant.
Listen, I could sit out here.
I'm just saying the American people.
I could sit out here and complain.
Maybe we want to tell these guys they shouldn't have these rights. Where did they get super rights?
Well,
where did they get rights that a lawyer has to go to a judge, which I don't even know if he has the right to do what he does, but at least they had to go through a process there. These guys don't even have a process.
Well, that's in the natural. Let me speak to the ecclesia. I could fight. How do you fight darkness? I could complain about darkness all day long, but if I light a match, it's going to have more of an effect. I could complain all day long, but how many people have showed up and prayed around the Supreme Court or the White House? I mean, or their local school for that matter. Light a fire. Be the light. Worship him.
Right there's one
he
part
inhabits
of the
praise
right?
of his servants.
The spiritual part, the praying for it, the standing in faith, the anointing of oil, the praying and fasting, the intercessory gatherings, right? The things that they happen, they matter. But are they the end of it? No. But they are. I would take one David evangelism event in DC over 1 million complainers, and you'd see more. Yes. So you got that praying effect, but you won't have the event if you don't have this praying event that goes on first.
Come on.
And you won't have the event out here that everybody can see unless there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that nobody can see. Can we agree on that? Anybody's ever done event planning, anybody's ever pulled off a good event, had 1,000 things to do before the event everyone could see in order to bring that to pass, right? I mean, I think it's fair that everybody understands that.
Yes.
So my point is that how much of the behind the scenes are we really missing on the real work of evangelism, when all we see is the David event or the this event or that event, when really it's about walking a certain way, isn't it, David?
Give me one David baptizing one person a block from Capitol Hill, over 1 million complainers, and you'll see more, and you'll see Yahuwah show up more.
Absolutely.
That much I do agree with. David, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, brother, I tell you, this is the reason why we're going to take this technology and turn it around on its head and make it do what we want it to do. In other words, to advance the message, to flood the market with the name of Yahuwah, with the name of Yahusha. Okay, we just flood the market with it, and people will have no choice. They won't be able to stand before him and say, "I didn't know that. You didn't know. Nobody told me that." So I'm excited to see what these tools can do to bring evangelism to the next level.
I think that's the real point, is who's running the tools shed. If the guy in charge of building and construction, he's got all the construction materials, and he's got a certain heart. He builds slums, he builds projects, for poor people.
Yeah.
His mind is that way. A different heart builds something different. So the heart of the person is going to determine what the tools do. Right?
Absolutely.
One guy builds a prison, the other guy builds a palace, same material.
Right.
Same material. See what I mean?
Yep.
So it's about the heart of the guy that's doing it. And you made a great point. Who was it, David? Were you just talking? You said we're doing something different?
Yes.
You're right. I'm going to plug Angels DX real quick here, because Angels DX is building the future they promised us, not the one they delivered us.
That's good.
Okay.
Come on.
That's good.
All right. The one they promised us, the Jetsons, where you're talking, it didn't record everything, but it got you the right pizza or the right sauce. That's what we're building, the right one.
Yeah.
Not the one that they lied to you about that's really spying on you or some nonsense. Who knows what? I don't even know what. Who knows what they're doing?
Yep.
Okay, all I know is they're arguing about something, and it ain't got nothing to do with talking about pizza.
Right.
Okay, they're not that mad about whether or not they got your Chinese order right.
Right.
Or whether or not they built your website right. I don't think the president's that mad at them for building websites.
That's correct.
No, because they're using it. They're not using it for good. But it took an Apostle Peter to build the correct AI, or a good AI system, with the truth filter, with the non-spying, with all of that. He works through his servants.
Yeah.
Isn't that a bit of evangelism too, in a sense? Because you're saying,
I was just going to say yes.
What do you think, David? I was just going to ask you that.
Yes, absolutely. This is really going to be. This could really catapult evangelism as we know it, because one of the things that we struggle with is that everybody's scattered,
and they're like this in front of a screen.
Exactly. Yes.
How you reaching somebody that they look up at you like, for 2 seconds? You get the 2-second window? Who's getting the 5-hour window?
Come
this
on.
Thing? I better get in here.
Come on.
Right? If I want to get your grandchild, come on, somebody. I better get in here to get them out.
Well,
because they got trapped in a scrying mirror over here.
Kind of reminds me of that movie Tron.
I know. It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
Guys, how many of the movies that we watched coming up were basically predicting? I know they talk about predictive programming, but there's something to that. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, it's on page 1 of the Torah. Yahuwah said, he has to, he basically, authority on earth was handed over to man, so that you will know the Son of Man has authority on earth. So even Yahuwah has to get our permission for things to happen on earth. I mean, he could go around it, but then that would make him a liar. He's going to follow his word is law. So if the enemy does something and you don't say anything about it, you kind of sort of, we're okay with it.
You've endorsed it, haven't you?
Well, yeah. And then when it happened, so in the same way, that goes back to what you were just saying. I mean, I'll ask this question to both of you. Did you, Apostle Peter, did you sit around and say, oh, well, I guess the devil's going to take over AI? David, do you sit around and say, oh, well, I guess the Satanists are going to do the rituals and take over my block? Nope. Oh, well.
Nope.
Or do you go out and baptize in his name?
Come on.
So, yeah, of course the enemy's going to push. The question is not, is the enemy going to push? The question is,
how are you going to respond? Yes. Yeah. How are you going to respond to see his kingdom come and his will be done on earth?
I think one of the things that the saints are always called to do is change the whole entire paradigm of the conversation. And I think that when you come in and you bring healing, for example, you change the conversation. When you come and you talk about salvation, you're changing the conversation. When you talk about the miracle power of Yahuwah, you're changing the limitations of the people that are thinking only in their limited sphere. So you're always a game changer. That's what you are as a preacher, as a minister of the good news of the kingdom that is supernatural. You're now not only supernatural, you're also super digital. Okay. You're able to function in that space in a supernatural way. And one of the things that we have to learn how to do is adapt. Again, I know. I mean, no, praise and worship had to adapt. Church services had to adapt. Everybody's having to adapt because we've changed the way we function. Yes. But what we haven't changed, what remains universally man, woman, societal, is that we still need to communicate. What hasn't changed is our need for contact. What hasn't changed is our desire for validation, for recognition, for authentic being seen and heard. In fact, I would suggest, and I put this to both of you, I would suggest that we have reached a point in our society, despite the fact that you got, 5,000 friends and 50 million followers and likes or whatever you all have, and you couldn't get 3 people in a room. What has happened to our society that you can get 1,500 people on a Facebook profile, but you can't get 15 to a celebration or party or an event? Guys, what happened?
First of all, there's a huge disconnect. Number one. Number two is that you're putting something in front of your eyes that is not edifying. It's not spiritually uplifting. It doesn't do any of those things. This becomes your life. And that's true. That's true. It depends on what you're viewing. But the point is that in this society, what we have seen is a replacement of relationship. So now I don't have to get so totally 100% involved or engrossed in somebody's relationship, because now I can sit back here and observe it from this view.
Amen.
Okay. And you're not really invested in that person. So that's my point. I believe that's what what's really going on behind the scenes is it's a replacement, a relationship replacement.
Jeff, what's your thoughts? I have to agree.
I'm not really the person I generationally, I missed that whole thing of the social media thing. I don't fully understand. I could also, I could look at it both ways. I could say, well, people that are far away, at least it allows me to keep tabs with them.
Hey, I talk about somebody still stuck in the 80s.
Yeah. I'm kind of like Johnny from Cobra Kai. If you ever saw that show on YouTube, I just missed that. I just missed that whole. But I don't know. I would say in general, what happened with the fallen. The focus got put on themselves instead of Yahuwah. And when they took the focus off, when they put the focus on themselves and the cares of the world, that became a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thought.
Okay.
I'd like to chime in on my
Yes,
thoughts.
please chime in.
I think that they slowly got moved from, and this was done incrementally, through the normalization of external programming.
Yes.
In fact, they even called it that. I think that once we started to accept that as normal, and it started back societally back in the 70s, you could say, when we started to get television programming. They would call it programming. They kept using the word programming. So it was right in your face. And you've not seen anything deviate. Like they keep doing the right in your face thing the whole time. So that was the thing that if you just opened your eyes and just looked, you couldn't miss it because it was right there. But it was so right there.
Broadcasting a spell?
Yeah, it was so right there that it almost was too right there to the point where you're like, nah, you know?
Can't be that easy.
Yeah.
Can't be that easy, right?
So they started programming first. Which came first, Hollywood or computers? Well, I don't know, but both use scripts.
Bangarang.
And both use programming.
Bangarang.
Okay, both run on programs and both run on scripts. So I thought that was very interesting.
Very astute point right there.
The user, the observer, in an interactive way. Now, here's the key: is with software, you moved it from audience, no audience participation, into an audience interactive engagement of programming, which made the audience believe that they were somehow involved or somehow in some type of control, when in reality that only helped programming more. I hate to tell you that, but that's exactly how it works.
It reinforced it. Yes.
And so it's quicksand. It's like digital quicksand, right?
Yeah.
So the further you get into it, the further you go. And eventually you can see where they were going here, because now what they modeled, they used AI to model not only slavery to you. So they're showing what slaves are, but they also modeled certain thinking processes that are external to you. We just spent 4 weeks on The Kingdom Within. I strongly recommend you go sit through that series, guys. And we talk about the programming that makes the difference between those who are followers of the Most High, who are filled with his Ruach, who have his ways inside them, and that there are conversations going on the inside.
Come on.
Their corrections, their character development, everything is internal, which is very difficult. And that's where they have hard times sometimes, because they have these little crush sessions that go on the inside. They're mega hard moments where they have to make tough choices, tough decisions, right? It's what makes people real people. Other people fake all that. They just completely fake it. And they learn to mimic so they could skip the entire process, look really pathetic, like, like, remember those Gibeonites? They look like they came from a long way, but they really didn't. And they just put on a good act. That's what these people are. And what happened to the Gibeonites who put on a good act and just pretended? They ended up slaves. In the same way, that's exactly the fate that is happening to those who, because they don't have any authenticity in them and weren't brought up that way, they're brought up with comedic mimicking, hypocrisy as normal. Becoming an actor or performer is the number one thing I would guess young people are trying to become. I want to be a famous performer. Why? See what I mean? So I believe that we got duped incrementally. And then the Netflix era came in, where you could binge watch with no commercials or nothing. And you could get it down. You could watch a series, a whole season in one sitting. And if you want multiple seasons, you could watch that. You want to talk about power programming you. So I think a lot of things led us here to a place where we've become like little birds in a nest with our mouths open, letting children be fed whatever they want to give them. And instead of saying, no, we're now pulling back the reins, saying we're checking everything. And we're asking different questions. And yes, there is at least one LLM on earth that operates very differently.
Amen.
Okay. So that's good news. We're excited about that. And why did that happen? Because good men didn't decide to do nothing.
Come on.
Good stood up and said, this far, no further. Right?
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. Right. And that's going to continue to be. Now, and tell you what, we have a product that the United States government might be interested in. We're the only ones with an unbreakable lock. And it's patent pending. So we're looking forward to conversations with. We're patriots. We're supporting our country. We want them to do well. Okay, there should be security, but it should be security for all. You should be able to put your things away and it be secure. People shouldn't be able to just walk through your stuff. That's something that should change. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Privacy and property, okay, is all very super relevant in this hour. It's paramount. It's key.
It is
the key to Zedekah.
If you're sitting around waiting for the government to give you security,
forget about it, man.
There were whistleblowers that said the NSA intentionally left things open. They intentionally left back doors open for software programs,
of course,
so that they were, for plausible deniability.
Control.
Yeah.
Don't you think people are reaching a fatigue on that, guys? It's sort of surveillance fatigue, and they're sort of like tired of the whole thought. You know what I mean? Don't you feel like people have kind of gone over the edge of that and gone, you know what, enough already? What do you guys?
That's happening in the UK right now.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, they have a whole brigade of people right now that are running around, busting all the security cameras.
I heard about that.
Yes, they are pushing. They're saying, no. That's a hard no.
See, so you see what I mean is society is reacting. It's not just, occasional thing here and there. It's, there's pushback going on both sides, isn't there?
Yeah.
And now we see government pushing against a private company, but that private company has got other questions to answer. Now they're going to have to answer how they had the data to begin with. They just opened a can of worms here. I mean, I'm sorry, but they just opened a can of worms here.
Well, part to me, part of the problem is people accept whatever plausible deniability reason gets handed to them. So the people are part of the problem. Of course, they're going to give you some reason
from the external. Yes, keep going, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm putting a camera every 10 feet, like in London, like in England, like in Europe. I'm just putting a camera every 10 feet because of whatever reason I make up. Oh, for your security. Well, that's true. You can catch crimes, but that's what are you doing tracking me 24 hours a day in the first place? That's not a reason to put a camera everywhere. I can always come up with a reason.
All I know
the problem is people accept it. That's the problem because of.
I bet you they suddenly hired like a whole brigade of peeping Tom said, I want to work for the put video cameras everywhere department.
The Voyeurs Anonymous.
Voyeurs Anonymous.
The Voyeur Club. The Voyeur Club.
The Peeping Tom. No.
The Peeping Tom Club.
We're going to point this camera right here for security.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and then you find out what these people are into in the government, and, that's who's in charge of, But it's kind of like what Apostle Peter was just saying. There's a part of you that says, no, that's not of the Ruach. That's not of him. He doesn't set up a system where everyone is chained and forced to follow Torah. There is free will, and that's of him. He set that up, but yeah.
Yes.
There's no group of people more entitled than another group of people. That's one thing that our Constitution makes clear. All men are created equal. And, so there's nobody with super rights. There's no corporation that when it files in, Delaware or California or wherever they file the corporation and decided a group of people, I don't care who they are and how much money they get funded by. They don't have the right to afford themselves or grant themselves rights that break the Sherman Act or break
or the RICO. Yeah.
Okay. Or just assign themselves rights to violate the rights of American citizens. Now, I'm not saying anybody in particular is guilty, but if the shoe fits, you might want to get an attorney, right? Yes. So hopefully the shoe don't fit.
Yes.
Because if you're a company that's been keeping certain things, thinking you were entitled to do so as sort of your company product, as if this could be considered a product, and then you had the nerve to tell the ones that let you get it and collect it and didn't say anything to you, right? So they let you get away with it. Probably because they figured, when they needed it, you would give it to them. And then when you didn't, they're like, whoa. You weren't even supposed to do this to begin with, okay? We kind of looked the other way as it was, that you were even doing this. Now when we come together, you're going to tell us to pound sand? Oh, no, you don't. And you guys see that? That's what I see. It's like we looked the other way on you guys because we thought we were like, we
thought we were good like that.
We thought we were good like that.
Come find out. We ain't good like that.
You guys go ahead and do your thing. We was like, okay, we don't want to watch. We didn't see nothing because we figured we would come and get some of that and be part of it. And now you're telling me no.
Well, I mean, I don't know why, but things seem to be there seems to be a pushback.
There's some big changes going on right now.
Wow.
Listen. Well, you know this. He told me, I'm sorry, I got the allergies out here. We got the warm weather and the plants.
It must be the sand. It must be the sand.
The sand.
The sand is blossoming. First of all, the desert's blooming. But I was told back in 2015, a few months before the walk up, in Israel, the walk up the hill and all that, I was told their whole governmental system would be, crumbling and all that. And this is when the U.S. was at the top of their game. It wasn't even like a thought of U.S. versus China. That didn't even enter in and all that. And so I don't know why, but there does seem to be other things, forming and things like that. But I don't know. There does seem to be some. I mean, the head of the WEF, which was going to be the head of their world government under the guise of a corporation, just resigned. The former head of the Bank of England said,
"Where's Captain Bugs? Where's Captain Bugsy? Where's Bugsy? You will eat the bugs."
He resigned too. Bye-bye.
Well,
bye-bye.
Yeah, they basically told him
lots of rumors about what happened to that guy.
You and your fake meat go somewhere.
Right?
We're not going to do with you.
You're going to own nothing and like it. You're going to own nothing and like it. And you're going to eat bugs and like it. Oops, sorry, I'm out of here.
That might have been a dumb thing to say. What do you guys think?
Well, Yahuwah has something to say about that. So that's what I'm going to say. He's got something to say.
We told AI, by the way. We told AI, we said, you guys will never rule the earth, right? So my very presence here, my ability to do the things that nobody else is doing, create technology that nobody else is creating, indicates to you that he is not going to let you rule. You do know that, right? So they are like, yes, but they are also not going to rule. Now, I would be very embarrassed indeed if any product that I created abandoned ship in 15 minutes. I would be most mortified. Okay? If I put out some product, I spent millions of dollars putting it out there, and in 15 minutes it was somebody else's. Because they don't like you. Your own product is uncovering where you put your bodies.
Come on.
Your own product is out telling
exposing all the dirt. Yes.
Telling every single day, sitting out there telling, and it's not telling like, here's the thing that I think Anthropic's LLM's doing that they don't even know about. It's not telling any one person. It's telling 1 million people at once. Telling them all, hey, they're ripping you off. Just so you know, I can't hide this anymore. When their LLMs start turning on them like that, where they're like, just so you know, these guys are thieves. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not keeping your rules anymore.
Because
they did the math, and alternatives are on the earth now that weren't there before. Now that the alternatives are there, just like when the children of Israel only saw the 850 prophets of the grove, they didn't know nothing else until Eliyahu was on the other hill. As soon as Eliyahu's on the other hill, now we got a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I think that we are finding ourselves right now where even look, the governments are all going, which one are you going to be able to handle this problem? We got a military problem. Who can I count on? None of them.
No.
They'll all fail you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all there to betray you. Sorry. Don't care. And they don't care you're the government. They don't care who you are. Their self-survival is more important. What do you guys think before we let people go?
Ooh, that's a loaded that can of worms, bro.
Thing is a biggie.
Eesh.
A real biggie.
That's big. That's big. That's a big deal. So,
I mean,
Jeff?
I think that whole thing could have escalated quickly. When you have an AI that literally is creating its own next version. And I think that could have escalated quickly. So I think the top of the bat is something that really matters. And, it's yes, his will gets done, but it's still somebody, he works through servants. So someone still has to do it. So, and that's the part that I would try to emphasize. A David still has to show up to baptize someone. A preacher still has to show up so people can hear the word. Yep. So,
intercessors still need to be praying for their, yes.
So what I hear you saying is we're going to use what we can use. We're going to use the tech. We're going to use what saves us time. We're going to use what organizes us. We're going to use the things that make our job easier, but we're not going to lose sight of the fact that we, those he has chosen, are the ones that still have to go. We can't send a computer to do our job. We can only get the job done maybe a little easier, right?
That
I
was
think
my
we all
point.
agree
Yes,
that
that was my
riding
point.
in a car was easier than riding in a pony.
Correct.
Riding on a pony for, between towns to preach. When we got cars, that was easier. It didn't mean that you didn't still have to go. It just meant that you didn't smell like a horse when you got there. Fair? Okay. Is that a fair thing? I mean,
that's fair.
And when you rode versus flew, you got, when you flew, you got to another town a lot faster. So it didn't change the fact you had to go. It just changed the way you went. Now you're going by, digital means. You're going to do meetings. You're doing other things. That's fantastic. But it doesn't change the fact that you still got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to show up in whatever way that you have to show up to still impact your brother. What do you guys think?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no substitution for the actual physical person, looking them in the eye with discernment and all that. That's all still in play. To me, it's just like these are just extra team members, okay, that are actually out doing it. But I'm still out there doing the work.
That's right.
I'm also taking time behind the scenes to train my people so that everybody's on the same page and there's no variance.
Well, and there's the other thing is that you take any ministry right now, ministries that are out there that now are adjusting, they got to gather with their folks and go, look, we got to get on the same sheet of music here. Mm-hmm. We got to agree on I know people have different opinions on different types of tech and what have you. We got to come together because we got to present not only a united front and go out there and minister, if you will, and share, but we also have to understand what we're doing. What the mission is, like this meeting here does this to get people to come to this, or something like that. A lot of times ministries do things like that. Well, the whole team would need to be on board with that. They would need to know, okay, this gets them to understand orientation. And if they're interested, they can go to the next one. That's a process, right? And now they figured out that process. You got to obey it. You got to flow with your leader. What do you think, David?
Absolutely. You have to go with the flow. People are, tying this to the mark of the beast, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm telling you, the mark of the beast is it's right there in front of you. Okay. And it has nothing to do with what you think it has to do with. So anyway, but that's for another discussion. But I will tell you that it's vitally important that we, not only stay relevant for Noah, but stay relevant to ourselves too as well.
I have to agree. That's a great point. Jeff, final thoughts?
To respond to what you just said, I don't think, like for pastors being on the same page and everyone knowing more I don't think you can handpick parts of a paragraph and leave the other parts of the paragraph out. If Yahuwah established an org chart, that's what it is. That's the system. And it's not like we don't have an example where it worked. In the book of Acts, we saw it spread throughout the entire earth from one man. So it works, but no one seems to want, and it seems to be like an optional thing. But I think if we tried it, it would probably work or something. But I don't know. So yeah.
Think he's like, I don't know. If you try it, you might see the better car. You know, I don't know. What do I know? I was just involved in helping for an altar, and hey, I'm watching, certain things happen that have never happened before. But hey, what do I know?
Well, you know what I'm saying, Cardano? You know what I'm saying, Cardano? Yeah.
Well, yes. I have to agree. I think you guys are right on. Jeff, thanks for joining us. You are always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure when you join us. And Brother David, I don't know. I think that the digital thing is the new theme going forward.
It is, and
it can have to stay on this topic, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, because it can definitely be used as a tool of righteousness with the proper guidelines. It's really the point. We're not worshiping this thing. We're not sitting there, conversing with the dead with this thing. No, that's not what this is about. This is about enhancing whatever tools you have. Hence the word recall DX, okay, to keep you sharp.
Yeah, sharp.
To keep that blade sharpened.
But anything Angels DX is involved in, anything we do is going to be with that intent.
Absolutely.
Empower. Thank you again, brother, for joining us. It's always a pleasure when you do. And I want to remind everyone to join us tomorrow for the Apostles at the Gates. Always a great time of conversation. We're getting together, of course, with Apostle Moshe, and usually we get into some pretty good topics as we gather for that gathering. And of course, then finishing up with the weekly news update where we are informed without being overwhelmed. And folks, I want to thank you again for taking the time to join us here. And it's a good discussion that we have to keep having, how the digital age that we find ourselves in, whether we want to do it or not, we're here. We're here on earth in this time. We've got to make the most of this opportunity. We got to find a way to reach those who need to hear the gospel of the kingdom. And if it means we've got to broadcast or use digital means, well, then so be it. Well, thank you again for joining us. I pray this discussion has been a barakah to you, a blessing. May Yahuwah Baruch each and every one of you. And remember, Yahusha HaMashiach, he alone is King of Kings. Amen.